New Zealand exports to the United States will now face a 15% tariff. That's up from the original 10% announced by Donald Trump in April. The White House revisited its list of tariffs just hours before the negotiation deadline at 4 o'clock this afternoon our time. But as political correspondent Zane Small reports, our officials intend to push back.
Donald Trump called it Liberation Day.
April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed.
It was the day the president announced new tariffs for countries exporting goods to the United States.
Reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world.
New Zealand was initially slapped with a blanket 10% tariff rate, which affected our exporters because it stung importers in the States. But it's now gone up to 15% after a modified list of tariff rates was published on the White House website just hours before the negotiation deadline ended this afternoon.
August 1st, the reciprocal rates will be going into effect.
This is a disappointing development. New Zealand and the US have a deep and long-standing friendship, and US exporters already face much lower tariffs exporting to New Zealand than goods going the other way.
So what does it actually mean for New Zealand exporters?
Those consignments, those shipments now, when they land in the US, whoever's buying them now has to pay a 15% tariff on whatever that shipment was. So it's not actually New Zealand exporters that have to pay that tariff directly, it's for those who are importing it into the US.
It's just a formula that's been used that says a list of countries that sell more to the US than they buy from the US have had 15% or in some cases higher placed upon them.
The United States overtook Australia in January to become New Zealand's second biggest export market, growth that was largely driven by demand for meat. But China remains New Zealand's largest trading partner, thanks to a free trade agreement signed in 2008. So for the government, it's a delicate exercise, keeping both superpowers happy. The Chinese embassy is not happy about comments made by FBI Director Kash Patel in a video yesterday justifying the establishment of a base in Wellington.
Some of the most important global issues of our times are the ones that New Zealand and America work on together. Countering the CCP.
He was referring to the Chinese Communist Party, which is represented in New Zealand by Ambassador Wang Xiaolong, who said on social media, "We strongly oppose any attempt to make groundless assertions or vilification against China out of the Cold War mentality. Such acts are against people's will and are doomed to fail."
I'm not surprised at what the Chinese ambassador would say. Obviously, they would say that they feel that this cooperation is targeted against them. But at the same time, we're not the ones who are actually changing the status quo in the region. It's actually the Chinese with these series of agreements which actually have not contributed to stability in the region.
That was a reference to agreements China has signed with Pacific Island nations, including a security cooperation deal with the Solomon Islands and a comprehensive strategic partnership with the Cook Islands, which prompted the government to pause nearly $20 million in development assistance due to the lack of consultation.
When you take a look at all of this and China's role in it, it becomes quite clear why New Zealand would seek to cooperate with other countries, not least America, to seek to restore some sort of balance in our foreign policy and in the region.
But can we really call America a friend?
And you do get a little bit of whiplash, of course, right? The US announcing an FBI office and saying that we're strong Five Eyes partners, and then within 24 hours coming through with an increase to tariff prices. It is a challenge.
It's a challenge faced by many small nations caught between the world's two superpowers.
Well, OK, Zane, how did Australia get on with their tariff?
Well, arguably the biggest blow for New Zealand is that Australia's tariff rate remains unchanged at 10%, which could be problematic for our exporters competing against Australia in the US because Australia will have that competitive advantage. When I spoke to Brad Olsen earlier, he told me it's likely because Australia recently allowed American beef exports into the Australian market, so that may have been taken into consideration. Our Trade Minister, Todd McClay, says he's seeking an urgent meeting with US officials to try and get a better deal for New Zealand. He says the trade deficit New Zealand has over the US is modest at around $500 million and is, quote, not overly significant in the context of the US economy.